Ladies and gentlemen, this thing right here is a Kia coil. It's not a pack of Kia coils, it is just a Kia coil. Actually, as much as people complain about these little Kias, I'm surprised I don't see more of them. This 18 Sorento has a misfire. Everybody has their own way of chasing down a misfire. None of them are necessarily wrong, except for maybe replacing the coil without removing the plug and inspecting it first, then reassembling without dielectric grease, and telling the owner of the vehicle that the engine's cooked when that doesn't fix the problem while wearing a hat and their skinny jeans around their ankles. That's probably the wrong way to do it. And that's what happened here. Let's go through my way of doing this. I like to isolate the misfire first, figure out which cylinder's misfiring. There's a couple of ways to do this. I'm using a scanner. I have a misfire on cylinder 2. That manifold valve controller code might be relevant. I don't know. That's not where I start when chasing down a misfire. When I have a misfire, the first thing I do is check the compression of that cylinder. If it doesn't have enough compression to fire, it doesn't really matter if it's got spark or fuel. You can get a cheap compression tester like this one for around $20. They come with adapters so you can connect them to multiple vehicles, and they don't take up a lot of space, so they work perfectly for your traveling tools. Now, when you're doing a compression test, you don't want the engine to be able to run. You can disable the ignition system by pulling a fuse, or you can just unplug all of the coils like I did right here. But engines adjust their timing at idle, and you won't get an accurate compression measurement. Now these guys got a little check valve in them to hold pressure, so you don't actually have to watch the gauge while you're cranking, but I like to watch the gauge anyway, so I just prop that up like that. And you can watch this while I give her the old what for. Just gonna hold this starter for a couple of seconds. That's good enough. Well, what do you know? The little grease ball was right. Throw that in my face. This cylinder does not have enough compression to fire. There is a possibility it has an injector seal leaking, and that would cause low compression too, but I doubt it. I heard this thing run, and you would hear a ticking noise right down in there. Now there's a possibility it just kicked out a cam follower or burn a valve. That would cause low compression, and if that were the case, it would just need a cylinder head, not an entire engine. So we move on to the borescope so I can see what's going on in the combustion chamber. You won't see this that well. This borescope isn't the best. I really needed one day, and this is all that was available. I just not bought another one. Now if you look here, you can see it through the phone. This damage right there, that's bad. This is never going to fire again. And I also just want to note there's a massive gap right here between the piston and the cylinder wall. That shouldn't look like that. Yeah, it is cooked.